iPad mini has been out for 2 years and 3 months exactly, and with so many iPads to choose from, iPad mini is still the tablet that I use on a daily basis in 2024. I know there are rumors of the iPad mini getting the finally long-awaited update later in the year, but let me tell you why iPad mini is still worth your money in 2024. Starting with the iPad mini that I purchased, I got the 256GB model refurbished from Apple for $549, but you can also purchase the 64GB refurbished model for $419 currently from Apple. You can purchase the iPad mini 5th generation with 256GB of storage for $469, but I would say stick with the iPad mini 6 to get the latest design update, and you also won't have the thicker bezels on the iPad mini 6. Speaking of the screen size, it's one of the main reasons I do love the iPad mini. It has an 8.3-inch liquid retina display with no notch or dynamic island, and it just has one uniform bezel going around the entire screen. I personally think it's a perfect middle ground between your phone and your laptop. So I'm not a Max or Plus iPhone user, so my iPhone 15 Pro has a 6.1-inch display, so having an iPad that has an 8.3-inch display makes it more practical and useful for my day-to-day usage, for consuming content, while being able to hold it for a long periods of time as well. iPad mini comes in at 0.65 pounds, and when you compare that to all the other iPads in the lineup, which weigh at least a pound or more, you can definitely tell a difference. And I'm not lying when I say I use the iPad mini with one hand a lot of the times when I'm using it, and it definitely doesn't feel like a stretch. I'm not exaggerating when I say I use my iPad mini almost every day. I use it to browse the web, watch YouTube videos or Netflix, read the news, or even use the iPad to optimize apps like Twitter or Amazon. It's definitely not a productivity machine, so if you're looking for one, this might not be the best iPad for you. But for what I gravitate towards my iPad for, it's perfect, and I never felt the need to get any iPads with bigger screens. I'm currently even using it as a notepad for this video that I'm recording just to make sure that I'm not missing any of my notes. Battery life is great as you'd expect from an iPad. It's one of those devices that I can forget to charge for 3 to 4 days and it'll still be alive. So it's definitely a luxury to have when it comes to tech gadgets these days. I should also mention the fact that it does support the latest Apple Pencil 2nd generation, so if you need to sketch or take notes on the iPad mini, you are able to do so. I personally haven't found the need for an Apple Pencil based on my usage, so the Apple Pencil you're seeing in this video is my girlfriend's, but it's good to know that it does support the latest Apple Pencil. While I love the iPad mini, it's definitely not perfect. It's missing the ProMotion display that I'm used to from my iPhone, and if it had it, it basically would have made it perfect in my book, but considering it's Apple, I wouldn't hold my breath on seeing the ProMotion display on the iPad mini anytime soon. Regarding the display, I'm sure you've heard of the jelly scrolling issue with the iPad mini, and if you haven't, it's essentially where one half the screen refreshes slower than the other, causing it to have an almost wave-like effect. I personally haven't noticed it too much, and it definitely shouldn't stop you from getting the iPad mini. iPad mini does have stereo speakers, and I'm pretty happy about it, and it does get decently loud. I still would have liked to seen it get a little bit louder, considering the fact that a lot of people do use iPads for a lot of content consumption. Here's a quick comparison of the iPad mini speakers to the iPhone 15 Pro. As you can hear from the video, they're definitely comparable, but I definitely wouldn't say the iPad mini does get louder than the iPhone 15 Pro. One small thing I'll mention is the lack of Face ID. And don't get me wrong, I love having Touch ID and being able to use my fingerprint, but it still doesn't beat the convenience of just being able to swipe on your screen and unlock the iPad. Lastly, I'm not going to spend too much time on the camera on the iPad mini because let's be real, you should not be getting the iPad mini if you're looking for a decent camera. But it does have a decent enough 12 megapixel back camera that will take decent pictures if you are in a pinch and you only have the iPad mini to take pictures. Looking at the front camera, it doesn't have the best quality, but it still has a wide angle camera that supports center stage, so you won't have any issues if you're trying to use it to FaceTime your family or friends. All in all, if you're looking for a casual tablet that's not too oversized in 2024, I'd definitely still recommend the iPad mini 6th generation, especially the refurbished versions. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.